I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Legislative Committee at 8:30 p.m. on Monday, September the 9th. Invocation, Commissioner Jones, would you mind praying?
Dear Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for this night. And Lord, I pray that you just be with us all as we do the people's business. Help us to be efficient with the time. Help us to be caring for our taxpayers, Lord. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Make a motion to approve the agenda with two items, the addition of the, you said the bond for the sheriff?
And this one's already on.
And this resolution is already on there for the audit, so. Second by Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Approval of minutes from August 19th. Have a motion? Also move. I'll need a
Second.
second
I
from
wasn't here,
Chairman Hyde.
so
Was here.
This is going to be difficult.
Chairman Hyde was here. Will you second that approval of the minutes?
Yes.
Because all in favor say aye. And
I have to abstain.
I'm gonna abstain.
I guess it will not be approved. We don't have a majority,
Well,
so.
I may I can't remember. Ms. Denon, there was some phrase, we would approve it, or we would.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Whatever, I can't remember the term.
It's
but-
as the form, and
Okay.
We'll
It's
approve
just
it.
not
Motion to
subs-
approve as to form.
Okay.
Commissioner Hyde and myself were ayes.
I
So
can do
abstain.
Well,
No,
to
no,
form,
I'll
Oh, for
vote
form again,
yes.
okay.
to form, I can vote, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Passes unanimously. All right, item 5 is election of chairman and vice chairman. Do we have any motions?
I'd like a motion to nominate Jeremy Mansfield for chairman.
Okay, we have a motion for Jeremy Mansfield. Do we have any more other motions?
I'll make a motion for Jerry Becker.
All right, we have a motion for Jerry Becker.
Did I have a second for?
You don't need a
You don't
second
have
on
a second?
nominations.
no, it's, yeah, nomination.
Okay.
I guess I'll take a vote. If all those in favor of Commissioner Mansfield say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those in favor of Commissioner Becker say aye.
Aye.
All right.
I don't know.
Carries 4-1.
That was louder.
That may be two.
I have the floor for.
A roll call.
Do I have a motion for election of a vice chairman of the legislature?
I'd like to make a motion for Tim Jones to be vice chairman.
I will not accept that nomination.
I'll make a motion for Jerry Becker.
I'll make a motion for Chrissy Miller.
All right. There have a motion from Commissioner Becker, and we have a motion for Commissioner Miller. All in favor for Commissioner Becker say aye.
Aye.
All in favor of Commissioner Miller say aye. Aye. All right. Carries 4-1. All right. Recognition of the public.
Ready.
Ready for you. Yeah, 5 minutes. If you state your name and address for the record, I think you know.
Yeah, I think we all know me by now.
Yes.
I'm Robert Edens, 141 West Roberts Road. I'm here to talk about the pubs for the Lewis Head pubs. They've got 2 on the agenda tonight, an amendment for number 1, second leg, and amendment number 2, second leg. Both of these we have discussed, and I've sent out pretty much colored stuff that's went to everyone. Maybe Josh has sent them out, and everybody saw them last month. I don't know if there's anybody here that did not see them. We have that PowerPoint showed the problems that we have with water and everything that's going on over there, and people 4 houses down from me that is either on spring water or well water. There is no city water for them, and anything that goes in up there above will be contaminating their water source. We also had a police officer here last week that lives on that road and last month that talked to y'all and said that, look, that even though they said there's been a study, the traffic has immenced quite a bit since the dollar store went in. We have a lot more traffic running up and down that road. It is not a 45-degree intersection. It is more of a 30-degree if you're coming from Portland. So even the school bus has to set on 109 before it can turn if someone's sitting at the stop sign. We had a lot more people here this morning or earlier today, but they've all had to leave. The issue being is if they go through with putting storage units up there, all this goes to concrete and buildings. Right now we got ground cover to where water can be absorbed up that way. Otherwise, with the photos and everything that I gave y'all last month, y'all saw that it floods everywhere else straight down across my property and across my neighbor's property. And all the way down to the bottom where they was talking about it was taking out driveways and stuff on in. Also, that water, if it comes off concrete or the buildings, you're looking at contamination for their drinking water, and as of yet, no one came up with an idea other than putting a little small retaining pond and nothing to shelter in between. This proposes a big issue for a lot of us out there, and we have even done a petition from everybody in the neighborhood that was signed, and it went to the Chamber Commissioner. So I just want to recognize that we are still not wanting this done unless they come up with a whole lot, something better than what they talked. I mean, we talked about burns, we talked about different things, but the people that's wanting to do it has not mentioned anything about doing anything to help us with that other than that retaining pond. Everything on that property from directly behind the dollar store, probably about 50 foot away from the dollar store, drops off dramatically, and you can see that by the contour lines that people showed that wanted to do this. So anything that goes there, unless there was a big berm or something like that to contain that water, or another way of taking that water other way, it's going to affect everybody else on that road. And that's all I would say.
Thank you, sir. All right, Chris Griffin. Come state your name and address for the record, please. You have 5 minutes.
Chris Griffin, 3301 New Oak Road. I was asked, I came to talk to y'all last time about the bringing back the office of constable, and I was tasked with giving y'all some of the changes that have been made since y'all abolished it in 2010, and what they've done as far as education, training, and bonding and insurance. And I submitted all that to Jeremy, and I don't know if that made it around to everybody, or wonderful. And so basically, to even become a constable right now, you cannot start doing any kind of law enforcement until you have your 40 hours of training, which is the same thing that is required of all reserve officers that they're using in White House, Millersville, Hendersonville, just a couple that I know offhand that are really struggling right now with the things. And then also some of y'all's worries about abuse of power and things like that, and then also stated the statutes in there where y'all can revoke the law enforcement policy, the law enforcement authority of the constable if for some reason he did something stupid. And then also I went back and I looked and tried to find an article, any kind of issues with a constable making the news of screwing up in Tennessee since the 2010 incident in Sumner County. And I can't find anything where there's been any kind of lawsuits or something filed civilly or something in the newspaper or anything else. But yet I have found multiple versions of county and city police officers where there has been issues. So the issue of just road vigilantism, it's not what this is. I mean, we're dealing with the average age of a constable right now, because I asked on the Constable Association, is anywhere from 45 to 65. And so, this is basically old men just helping out, trying to help in the thing of doing the process serving, to help, but they have the options of coming in, helping at the schools, to help being an SRO. They could come in literally as an employee of the school themselves and not have to make the cop pay, because the people who are doing this aren't in this for the money. I mean, this role literally costs the city, the county, nothing. Y'all don't pay anything. There's no training fees. There's no out of pocket uniform. The constable has to pay for their own bond, and they're bonded themselves. And so they pay for their own training, their own firearm, their own uniform, their own gun, and all they're asking for is to be able to help the county. So if y'all have any questions for me, cool, but if not, that's all I wanted to say. Just please keep this open, because I really want to try to get this office brought back to Sumner County. And hopefully there's something we can do to make that go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. All right, order the chairman, I have none. Order the county mayor, he's not absent. Old business, item A is discussion of the Hendersonville Library. We're going on next 12 months here. Mr. Law Director, I think we left it with you. I don't know what, with the negotiation with taking back what we voted on. I believe we had a vote and a motion and a vote taken last month.
Yes,
to
and
get back to Hendersonville.
I've communicated with the city attorney, and I've laid out the three options that were discussed. One is that they give us full ownership of the property with no reverter. We take over full maintenance, upkeep, and care of the building and the surrounding property. Option two was that we surrender our ownership over to them. They take over full care, custody, and control of that building and cost related to it. And option three was we keep ownership the way it is and come up with a new MOU and better define how expenses are going to be allocated in the future. And I've actually talked with the city attorney. He's got to run it through his people. I've yet to receive an answer back.
All right, so without objection, unless you guys want discussion, I don't want to beat a dead horse, 'cause we've been beating this horse for 12 months. You gotta make a
Well,
motion.
where's it gonna go
You gotta
to?
make a motion.
Motion to discuss.
I do not anticipate, I'm sorry.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Becker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
I just had a question. Where does it go if we don't come up with another suggestion? Just waiting on the city to come back with their version of an MOU?
The feedback I've been getting, I don't think we're gonna get a resolution to this, so at some point in time, I'm gonna be asked to pursue other avenues.
That's what I figured. So the other thing I was gonna say to that was, last month, I was on that side, and I stood up and made a suggestion, and I don't know that it went anywhere, but I'm gonna try one more time from this side of the table. Can we not ask them if we can get rid of the reverter clause, but add in there that when the length of time expires to where their investment has expired, that's what this is all about. They've invested a certain amount of money in there, and we put some kind of clause in there saying, we guarantee that that library will be in existence for this many years at least, and make it to where their fear is that we're gonna kill the library and then they lose all the property and everything. So if we can alleviate that fear, maybe they'll just let it go. That's why, have we even explored that with them?
If I
Go
may, my position is this is a leverage tactic, and at the end of the day, I have been the presenter and I've gotten no response, no attempt to sit down and try to come to some sort of agreement. There's been no counteroffer. There's been absolutely nothing.
I just wanna kill it and not make it keep going like this with the MOU.
Hold on, Commissioner Becker.
I'd like to make a motion to move forward with option 3, and if the city is not willing to go down that path, creating the MOU, then we go back to option 2, and we just give the city the whole property.
It's not that simple.
I want to interrupt here. I mean, this was all discussed last month, and right now we're in limbo with all three decisions. At the worst, this process past year, we just keep the status quo of what we are. We have this crappy agreement that stuff has been falling under the wayside, but the county has not abrogated the responsibility to pay for things just because we don't want the library being shut down. So we're just doing it. Mayor Clary has stated he wanted to get paid back the money they gave. At one point, I think it was either for the elevators or the AC unit. I can't remember which one. I think it was elevators, claiming that he didn't feel that the city was responsible for that, being half owners for the building, but yet you have a major repair, and that's kind of the law director's interpretation of the law, on that ownership. So that's kind of where we've been with that. So, but the three options are, well, I guess 4, status quo, give it to them, which was an option. Commissioner Rogers had made that motion to do that, but then the law director interjected, it's not that simple. So I see this as still, we're back in limbo of these three options of waiting to hear back what Henderson wants to do before we can really because let's give it to them, let's take it all on, or let's redo the negotiation or do nothing. So it's like, we're just stuck in all this.
Do we have?
Are you done?
Yeah, does the city,
Because you were making motions.
yeah, so I mean, to your point, I appreciate the background. Does the city feel that we're waiting on them?
They've given me no response.
But I mean, that was our motion last month, is for you to approach them on
I
these.
approached them again, and this isn't the first time I've
So
been
they've
asked to
not given
present
you-
that offer, and so it was resubmitted, the same offer.
And you have not heard back yet? from-
Correct.
I mean, we just
The
met
same-
2
the
weeks
same
ago.
The same three
Yes.
options?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I'll withdraw my motion.
Commissioner Schiff?
What does Mayor Clary say that we owe him?
It's repairs against the
Do we have a dollar, do
building.
we have a number?
I would defer to Mr. Long on that.
It was, I don't know, it's $4,000 or $8,000, I don't know.
So is if we were to pay some amount back, has Mayor Clary indicated that he would waive rights to the property, and if we were to basically, according to what he said, make him whole, you know, for what he's put into the building, what the city's put into the building, would they be amenable to turning it over to the county? Have they indicated that?
No, they have not. I've gotten absolutely no response. The only thing that would be happening is I'm just modifying my original offer. That's all that seems to be happening here.
I guess I would posit this. I would not want to make this amendment without a number. Like, if the number is astronomical, I wouldn't want to do it. But if we had a number in there that we could walk around, then maybe, I would make a motion to submit as another option to request or to offer that amount to the city in order to, and with the contingency that they would, upon receipt of that, they would quitclaim the property. I just need to know the
There's
number.
no problem with doing that from my perspective, but it doesn't sound to me like they even want to talk, is my problem. I'm getting no responses.
Is that a real motion though, that's on the table
Well,
now?
it's not a because I don't have a number. I don't have a number, but I would like to know what that number is.
Hold on, Tim, you're out of order. Law director doesn't know the number. I can't remember the exact
I'll
number.
ask. Was this a question for Mr. Long?
Yeah, I can put a bug in
All
his
right.
ear tomorrow.
That's fine.
Right now, where we left off from the minutes was a motion and a second, an unanimous vote to have the law director research giving the property and maintenance to the city of Hendersonville with the county to continue to pay salaries of library staff. That was where we officially left off. And so I'm amenable to anything. I mean, but just what's not okay is just this limbo of this joint ownership that just hasn't been working. So I know Commissioner Schoaf, you've made that motion several times to just give us take it on responsibility, and that's passed. I mean, we've tried everything, and we've got. So I think, in my opinion, we're premature. This needs to go to old business because you need to hear from them. And we just had legislative 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I guess. So
That would be correct, but I'm not holding up any high hopes that I'm gonna get a response.
okay. Did you have a motion, Commissioner Schoaf?
No, because I don't have a number.
All right.
So I don't want to do anything without that.
Commissioner Jones?
I may have a motion going kind of towards what he's saying. If we're talking about an air conditioner unit and an elevator, we could put a number not to exceed on that motion, but it would have to be showing the actual bill for what he's asking about, so we know it's real money, not just a number that they pulled out of air. So we could put a dollar amount on that not to exceed X amount of dollars, $10,000, $20,000, and also see the bill if they would quit claim it over to us after we made them whole. That's my motion.
A second or?
And I don't mind if it dies if he wants to keep hammering on it, but
What's the
that'd be a
figure?
quick way to get it over with.
What's the figure?
20,000, not to exceed $20,000, but they have to show the bill to know that that's real money, not not just a made-up
I
number.
want to second that, and, oh, sorry, somebody.
Go ahead and second.
Well, I'll second it, but.
Commissioner
Susan Q.
Miller, go ahead.
Do you really think they're gonna respond to that when they haven't responded to the other three? I mean, I think at the
Maybe, maybe
point is,
not. Yeah,
I mean, it's,
it gives them something else to fire with, is all I'm saying.
but there's been zero response. We're spinning our wheels,
Yeah.
and it's
Just giving them more ammunition to go with, is all I'm doing. More options.
Commissioner Becker.
Who exactly has our law director been working with that hadn't heard back from?
I've been funneling everything through the city attorney.
Both,
Mr. Ray, is that right?
both myself and the law director went in January before the finance committee and spoke to the entire finance committee, the mayor, per their request, and laid this out. And, I mean, we've gone to the city of Hendersonville before a committee.
So, all right, appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna move that to old business.
We need to vote.
I know, well,
Yes.
did you make a second?
I second.
Okay, so,
No more.
there was a motion to, I'm gonna restate your motion, correct me if I'm wrong, to have the law director approach them with we will pay you back up to $20,000, not to exceed $20,000 for any air conditioning repair or elevator repair, in order for them to just relinquish their claim on the property and quit claim deed it over to us. Is that the spirit of what you said?
Yeah, but we want to see the bill too.
Well, we want to see the bill before
Yeah,
that.
that's why it's up to.
Discussion.
Just for awareness. So if they quit claiming it over us, then the county is paying for everything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Responsible for everything.
Okay, I just want to make sure. It
Yes,
seemed obvious, but I just wanted to double check.
it's been discussed multiple times. That's the risk. It's
Yeah.
it's a big burden.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question too, just to catch up on this board? Has that been the will of this board to more have wanted to take on the library than wanted to give it away?
It's vacillated.
I
between-
know, that's why I want to make sure I'm not ruining work
We
that's been
can't-
done in the past.
Here's,
Go ahead.
so the spirit of this has always been, at least from my point of view, that I don't think we care that much who owns it. It's more that it's this joint thing that's causing the limbo. And whether it's us or the city or whoever, one entity maintains control, upkeep. It does away with all of these arguments of what is maintenance versus what is a repair, right? I mean, one entity owns it. That's the thrust of it. And so we've, to Mr. Mansfield's point, we've offered several different things here, and now we're putting another one up there.
But they've all been an effort to take it or give it. We don't
Yes.
really care.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't want to keep beating this dead horse, because I'm I'm just gonna ask you to not ask any more questions on this one for tonight, because it's been a year. Go ahead, Commissioner Becker.
I'd like to make an amendment and give it, we'd pay up to 20 and quit claim it to them.
Second.
Give them. That's your second?
Mhm.
Okay.
Who was the second?
Commissioner Mansell.
Just
So the amendment is, we would pay up to the 20,000 for the elevator and, what was the other?
Air conditioning.
Air conditioning. And then we would quit claim it to them.
With that too.
Yeah, that's the amendment.
All right. Any more discussion on the amendment? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Who was the no?
Mr.
Chairman Hyde was. I'm gonna abstain on my second, so I'll be an official abstain. So we got 3 yeses and
I'm gonna vote no.
a no and a no and abstain, so like I said, that dies.
Okay.
Well, now we're back to
Now you're
your-
back to your main motion.
Yep. Which was the same thing, but
All right, main motion is to,
But we-
we keep it and pay them up no more than $20,000.
Did my amendment fail?
It did,
You and I were the only two.
no, I voted for it.
It was 3.
and there, I was abstaining and 2
Three.
noes.
Yeah.
It failed.
Abstaining and 2 noes.
Yeah,
So it's
needed
4.
four.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Anyway, so all in favor of Commissioner Jones's motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Nobody wants it. I don't understand which direction we're going. I'd make better motions if I did.
I'm gonna say, gosh, I'm gonna say yes, just to, so you can move forward, because this is just for you to move forward,
More
to talk to them.
Was that four?
So if I may, for clarification's sake, I'm modifying our last offer to pay expenses up to $20,000 based on proof of payment and them to quit claim to us with, I'm going off of what the prior quit
With
claim
no
was
reverters.
with no reverter.
Correct.
Okay.
We just went through general option and went through it. All right. That just gives you another thing to discuss with them. It's only for a discussion point. So,
Okay.
all right. Item B,
Motion to discuss.
you have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Who's first in the queue?
I'd like to get in the queue, and I think I'll direct it to you, but Mr. Hyde may have some background on this. I genuinely don't know anything about constables. Maybe this is a good idea, maybe it's not. I would just be interested if.
You weren't here last month, were you? And you missed, they had a whole presentation,
Yeah,
so you might want to go.
I'll go back and take a look. But Mr. Hyde, I don't know if Mr. Hyde has some background or if like what is the
You should.
need that we're trying to fill here? And what are we trying to, why did we get rid of it? And then why do we want to bring it back now?
Well, very quickly, because I'm really tired and want to go home too, but having been a constable in Sumner County, back in the early 70s when I first came to Hendersonville, I can tell you part of the problem with what was happening here that I think would be cleaned up under the new situation. You would have constables are elected by a district, but they are able to enforce the law anywhere in the county. And what would happen is we had one particular constable in the northern part of the county who would come down in Hendersonville and park on Gallatin Road issuing tickets to people in Hendersonville because they didn't elect him. The people in the northern part of the county elected him. And it was a fee basis. Constables are not paid except by a fee. So they got their money by serving papers or issuing tickets just like an officer or anyone else. So there were a lot of things like that happened and were going on. And then counties had an option of, under the law that was passed, of abolishing constables or keeping them. And Sumner County, as a result of some situations like that, just chose to do away with the office. I think all of that has been corrected now and I had the privilege of talking with Chris about this. I think that's all would be done away with the training and everything else now, but that was the problem.
I'm going to interject. Chris had approached me back in July, I believe, and just asked to have a chance to put it on the agenda just for discussion. And this is not something, this is just to give them a chance to present their case of like what's positive about it, what's negative. I will note on page 14 on the removal of law enforcement powers that you can remove, I'll say, law enforcement powers if there's concerns of any kind of abuse for arrest or, writing tickets, I assume, stuff like that. So that where it could be only, I assume, a function in where they might serve warrants or stuff like that. And they do those types of things as well. And they did get paid, I think it was, $1 or $2 per thing that they delivered. So it's not like they're doing it for money, really, and they provide all their own equipment. So it's just a question of with Sumner County had it, and if you guys want to suspend the rules to allow him to speak and answer any questions, we can do that for Chris. I don't know how many counties have constables. I can't remember from the discussion last time. I can't remember if that was asked or not.
Almost to suspend the rules.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Becker. Motion to suspend the rules for Mr. Griffin to come up and address us. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Griffin, how many counties have constables right now? Do you know?
Goodness,
I don't know offhand. I can pull it up, but it would take a few minutes, and y'all don't have that
Sure.
tonight. But I'll be happy to send it to you tomorrow and let you know for sure. The fee for writing tickets is they make $1. So no constable's gonna write a ticket to go to court, you know, and, you know, so he's gonna write the ticket, which he has to pay for his own ticket book, and then turn around and write a ticket, then go to court to make $1. He's not gonna do that ever. So that issue was definitely gone. And the court pays like if they do serve a warrant, the person who you're arresting and taking to jail, it's figured into the court costs, they pay it. That's the only fees that they make. The rest of it is just process serving, you know, civil. We're pretty much just trying to help out the civil side, because you know, to take some of the workload off the sheriff's departments in the small counties, in the small city officers. The whole deal is to work with them and to help them out. Basically, it's just free labor. It's like you take the stuff that they don't have the time to do or they don't want to do, and let the constable take care of that.
Commissioner Baker?
Couple quick things.
Sure.
So if they would write a speeding ticket, so like, if they're in the city of Hendersonville and they write a speeding ticket, then they go to city Hendersonville court?
Yes.
So they would just have, but they can go all around the county
Anywhere in the county, yes.
and write tickets for whoever it is, city or county courts?
Yes.
I never went to city court because at that time Hendersonville was not a city. We went to general sessions, but I guess it would be the city court.
So, and then if they were to serve a warrant,
They go by the warrants office. They work hand in hand with the DAs.
Okay, so they would be given.
Yes.
They wouldn't on their own go to.
No.
I'm just-
No, that's the whole thing. It's not like the Wild West. They basically are just picking up the slack of the smaller things that would free up the sheriff's deputies that don't have the time to go do all this minor stuff, to go serve a warrant on somebody for, petty theft or something like that, something that they could be out actually doing the bigger jobs.
Okay, thank you.
Tim?
So just for the record, the Constable Association says 49 counties in Tennessee have them. In the state, yeah. A total of 175 constables, so I guess 2 or 3 per county. Question I had was, you had mentioned something about SROs.
Yes.
So there's been a lot of talk about what it takes to train officers and then extra training and evaluations for SROs. And this would alleviate, or some deputies of having to do that and focus them other places. Is there counties presently doing that where some constables are working as SROs?
I know that in the city of Columbia, Steve, the guy that was in here last time, he has done SRO work as like fill-in at the schools and stuff. That's the only one I know offhand.
And they would have the same training that our current SROs have? Is that a
Yes,
requirement
and
of the
they'll pay.
state or the sheriff's office, or who?
Most of this stuff has been set forth by the Constable Association, so if you could be certified as a constable through them, you have to have these minimum requirement things.
But SRO training,
You would have to go get it.
and it would be required by who? The school?
The school,
would make
yeah,
sure
the
that
school
you
would
have
have
the
to
proper
hire you.
training?
Yeah. The school you would have to prove that you've been certified in that. Yeah.
Currently, the constables must, according to state law, must complete 40 hours of in-service course every 12-month period. A future change to the requirements, according to this, is that they're working with the state legislature to establish a new 128-hour of police training for newly elected constables.
Yes.
And that course would have to be completed in the first year a new constable enters service. So quite extensive compared to Chairman Hines' days. Chairman Hines?
I would have to be, I'm not opposed to seeing the constables have some power in helping schools, events and things of that sort. But I would be totally opposed to them working as SROs, because I happen to have been the superintendent of schools in 1988 when we were just just beginning to add police officers to schools. And we had the city of Gallatin that served Gallatin High School. We had the city of Hendersonville that served Hendersonville High School. There were other cities talking about adding officers into schools. We found very quickly that what the attitude of officers happened to be in Gallatin was maybe softer than what it was in Hendersonville, or harder in Hendersonville than what it was in Gallatin. Some things overlooked in Hendersonville that might have been enforced in Gallatin. If we could see we were headed for a train wreck. So I instituted a study committee that adopted the sheriff's department, which is a unified count of police force enforcement through the whole county that would be equally and the same enforced throughout the schools. Worked beautifully, coming to a unified system like that rather than 6 or 8 different police departments. I couldn't support that angle of it.
Could I amend that? They're not the only, hey, I'm learning, I've been here for 6 hours. So, now, if they're not the SRO, but some of the larger schools, and we're only able to allocate 1 officer, but you could have an SRO as a backup, a constable as a backup to him, or to help on days like pep rallies, days where there's going to be huge events come in, but you're paying this guy janitor pay, and you're not, because he's going to have to be hired by the district, by the school himself that day to come in, and all he's going to do is back up your highly trained SRO, or give the constable the option to train with the sheriff's department, when they do their SRO training, and maybe he could serve as, if that guy's gonna be out that day and the sheriff department doesn't want to allocate another thing, maybe they can call the constable to come in and fill it for 1 day, just as a help or a backup, or there is an extra man for the pep rallies, for the football games, for the stuff that is, the assemblies when they're gonna have all these big things in. That's one thing
I'm not opposed to what you're saying. I'm opposed to that element. If it was a carnival or some school event where it could help, but being an SRO, the fact that the constable has the authority, the same authority really basically as a sheriff's deputy or the sheriff of a county, they wouldn't really have to do what anyone told them to do in a school setting. And I hopefully no one would be that obstinate, but they wouldn't have to.
Yes.
They could deal with the problem differently if you had a stubborn person. So for that particular thing, I really wouldn't want to go backwards on that.
I'm with you. I'm just whatever they can do to help.
So, I don't know what removal of law enforcement powers means through the county legislative body. Does that pursue this, or I know it takes a 2/3 vote of the county legislative body and at 2 consecutive meetings if the county even wanted to reinstitute constables. But so just help me understand. There's really no taxpayer dollars involved with enacting a constable's, I'm gonna say program for lack of better words. I understand if you're doing warrants and you're taking things off of the sheriff's plate, frees them up for safety issues to be back on the streets. Obviously, they put a lot more protections in place versus on 2010 when Chairman Hyde was on the commission. They got rid of it because of the problems with the constable program.
They had no training. They also didn't have the psychological evaluation that you have to go
I did read that you have to have a psychological evaluation to even be considered, be on the ballot to even pull your petition for an election, to have that kind of background. So, it's. I haven't spoken with the sheriff about this yet. I'm going to be having lunch with him soon. I'm curious to ask have you guys spoken with the sheriff?
I did speak with him and tell him that I was interested in bringing it back, and he didn't give me a yay or nay of how he felt. The DA didn't like it, but he told me he was willing to listen to what the differences that they had done. And I tried to talk to the mayor, but I missed out on it.
Do you know why the DA didn't like it? Did he?
He was on the original vote back in 2010, and so he didn't, he just
You
said
just
that
said
he
he's-
voted to abolish it back then, and,
He's going based on,
yes,
Yeah.
but he said that he would be willing to, he said, I can't say that I support it right now at all, but I would be willing to listen to what you gotta say. And so, that's,
The sheriff's office was in favor of abolishing it at that time.
correct.
Not now, I'm speaking
Yeah.
of that time.
Commissioner Baker?
So real quick, I see where it says the number can't exceed half the number of county commissioners. We got 24, so it can't exceed 12, but in your mind, as you're going through this, what are you thinking the number of constables would be?
I think we start with like 2, give it a shot and just see what happens, 2 to 3. I mean, if you could just, or 4, if you wanted to break up how they do it in Wilson County, they have 4 constables. And so they just break it up, north, south, east, west, 1 constable for each part of the county.
That's sort of 4 is sort of what I was sort of thinking.
And
Yeah.
the commission draws the districts, if the
Correct.
commission wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I believe the commission can even appoint a constable if they want to, but they can definitely take the power away if they're doing something that they're not supposed to. And that's what the fear was, is that, it was a guy with a badge and a gun that was just going out with answering to nobody. He answers to y'all. Y'all can strip his power and he can't do nothing but have that badge.
Commissioner Jones?
Can the constable program be catered towards, the duties be catered towards what the commission wants to focus them towards? Like,
Sure.
say we just want you to serve warrants to alleviate sheriff's deputies. That's all we want you to do, or this and this. Everything but that. Can we pick what we
I don't
want
know.
you to do with it?
I don't want to say yes or no on that. I want to think y'all, I think there's an option for y'all to limit any power, but I'm not sure. I think the Tennessee State Constitution says that they have all the power of the law enforcement officer.
I think that would be key to the vote passing or not, because people want to know what kind of powers we allow you to have. And
The same power as a cop.
no, but I mean, the sheriffs and the DAs and everybody else is gonna want to know those
Yeah.
questions too. I mean,
It's
something worth looking into.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it for the reason I'm trying to bring it back, but I don't know how the other counties would like that, and I don't even know if it's even possible with the state constitution.
Well, maybe just seeing what other counties do as far as this county uses them for this and this, and the general consensus is they're used for these basic items or something like that. Maybe that'd be helpful to
And
know.
I think that's what they pretty much do right now, at least the constables that I've had conversations with. Most of them just, work in the civil warrants office and help out with that. That's 90% of their job. Steve Mayram said last month, he said he's been a constable for 15 years and he's wrote 1 ticket. And, so he said that's not his focus and job.
Commissioner Baker?
I'd like to make a motion.
Oh, we want to bring it back in discussion. We're in discussion right now.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I was.
Lauder?
I would just like to point out to the commission, I'm the half empty glass guy here, but I don't know what liabilities involved. Are they agents of the county? You made a comment about being hired by the school for the day to perform those functions. So, and I may be creating work for myself here, but there seems like some serious liability issues that we need to get over, because if I were a constable, I'd want to find some way to be under the county, because there'd be a Governmental Tort Liability Act statute that would cap anything that anybody come after me with. So
I know
just
they
I
have to
throw
have a-
that out there for food for thought.
They have to have a bond.
Yes, you have to be bonded and you have to provide it for yourself. But what liability do y'all have is for the sheriff?
We get sued all the time.
Okay, but the sheriff's job is a whole lot more involved in law enforcement, in law enforcement, of actually going out and doing the job, of putting themselves at risk with the people. In 99% of the time, a constable is not going to be near at that level. That they're doing. We abolished constables because one guy screwed up around here. And that, I mean, I'm sure there was more involved, and you obviously know a whole lot more about it than I did, but I mean, Nixon did Watergate, and we didn't get rid of president. We just need somebody to, give it a shot, let the people come in and help, let them try to save the taxpayers some money, and actually let our deputies who are already overworked, because I talked to a lot of them, and, give them a chance to do their job and take some of the stuff that they don't want to mess with off the plate.
Well, I don't disagree with it being the intent side of this is, well, what if a guy gets shot serving a paper that's a county paper? Do we have any risk? Do we have any liability? Are we responsible for any bill? I don't know the answer to these questions, but it's definitely something I think needs to be vetted.
I will have, that'll be something I have to research, sir.
Yeah,
I mean, I got a
I'll
lawyer
do
buddy who's helping me do this. Obviously, I'm not smart enough to handle all this stuff.
Yeah, and I'll do the same thing because I'm not for or against it. I don't care either way, but.
Oh, I'm definitely starting to like it. You're coming towards me. I can feel it. I keep coming, you're gonna keep liking it.
Any other questions before I bring us back into session?
All right.
Any more other questions? All right, thanks, Chris. We'll bring us back in session. Commissioner Baker.
Yeah, it's more of a recommendation to keep it on old business, but I would like to talk to the sheriff as well, and then that would give the law director time to look at the
I was
liability.
going to suggest the same thing.
Yeah.
so.
Can we also research whether or not it could be done for a trial period or something like that?
You're dealing with state laws. This is not like we can do it willy-nilly, and I don't think you can appoint necessarily. I read through this, and I think it's
No, I want to know what.
only if there's a
says.
vacancy.
If
So, yeah,
it's-
but I mean,
There's a whole bunch of jump there to make it happen, and you can't just undo it.
yeah, it's not just
Easily.
I don't think you need to do a trial run.
No, I'm saying along the way, can we figure out if a trial run is in the cards in the future if we do turn this on?
We're just always moving.
Looks like it.
Motion to discuss?
2/3 vote.
No,
Commissioner Miller?
no, I don't want a motion to discuss. I was just gonna agree with Commissioner Baker.
All right. We're going to keep this all old business time, so, all right, no for discussion. Veteran Service Report and Presentation, is Mr. Oki here? It's not. It is in your packet. Audit Committee Standing Rule Change regarding members. Do I have a motion? I'll make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is this to discuss or approve it?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right. Got a motion to approve. I'll go ahead and second that then, so.
I gotta abstain.
Any discussion, Commissioner Baker?
Yeah, just want to make sure I understand. I read through it. Someone told me about it, but I think when I read through it, it's the opposite of what, at least I thought it was. So this resolution is to bring this in line with what our standing rules. This is changing our standing rules.
To come in line with
Changing
state
the
law.
standing rules to conform with our previous resolution of 2012.
With what, so in 2012, it included specifically the budget chair and the highway committee chair.
Yes, sir, that's also, I
Yeah.
believe in the,
Yeah, and that, yeah, so that's, I originally thought it was going backwards, where it was going from those to, like, two commissioners at large, if you will.
and the reason why we're doing this is it has to be approved by the comptroller, and the previous 2012 resolution was approved by the comptroller, but these rules have not been. I'm just trying to make sure that we're compliant with that, with this.
Would we be compliant, I'm just making this as an example, that I'm using as an example, chairman of the budget committee or designee, like if I happen to be that chair, could I let another budget committee member serve on this, or it has to be the budget committee chairman?
I mean, I think if you weren't available, I think the vice chairman, would be able to serve in that capacity.
Okay, I just want to know if I made an amendment or suggested here, would it make this resolution be non-compliant with what?
It would.
It
Yes.
would, okay.
So it has to be,
It has to be this verbatim.
This is TCA.
Yeah, that's basically what, so it has
We're
to
conform,
be-
we're getting our rules in line with TCA in the original resolution, which was, realized this has been off for a while. I guess,
Yeah.
however long the rules have been there, like this
And I
has been
want to, I
wrong.
want to thank Mr. Long and Mrs. Bergendorf for bringing this to our attention, and getting this figured out.
All right, we got a motion, we got a second to approve.
Can somebody just give me a brief overview of what changed from what was to what is going to be?
The standing rules improperly put what the makeup should be. So we're going back and fixing it to what the comptroller approved, the
Which is
state
this.
approved language.
We're modifying the standing rules to get in compliance with state law.
Yeah.
That's,
That's simple.
And this also, just to make super clear, not only does it do that, it also brings the duties, responsibilities into line with what is outlined in Resolution 1203-01.
If it's compliant with state law, I'll vote for it. I'll learn what it is later, I guess.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Item C, Law Director's Report on the Brown Park codicil. We had just kind of tasked you to some questions last time. I know this is in general ops, been thoroughly debated and discussed there, and it's still in gen ops. And I know budget has it on their agenda for Monday, so I don't want to belabor this point. Any report, Mr. Law Director?
nothing that hasn't been stated and restated by me on multiple occasions. We're still, we still don't have the funds, and I guess it's still in disagreement with the trust position on how things should be handled from this point forward.
I just have one thing, well,
Motion to discuss.
motion discussed.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Commissioner
And
Church.
I apologize. I just want this to be, and I think it's been stated on the record. And I know Mr. Long is keeping on. Have you found any record of the county commission approving the gift to receive this gift?
No.
Okay. So item 2, this is another, I'm talking through some things that I spoke with Mr. Long about, but I'd just kind of like to get them on the record, because this is going to matter in a week, it wouldn't matter in a couple hours. My understanding from Mr. Long, I had not had a chance to speak with you about it, but is that in spite of that, because of the time that has lapsed, because of the several discussions that we've had, and because probate has been closed, among other things, that it is not prudent to attempt to divest ourselves of the property. Is that also correct?
Here's the thing, the county does not exclusively own the house. The county has the obligation of maintaining the house with the funds that were the set aside, the $500,000. And the wish was to have the house be maintained in perpetuity with using the $500,000 as the seed money for that, and it to be the centerpiece of a park.
Right.
Now, I know Mr. Long has done a lot more research, and he's actually gone over the report he wants to do Monday
Yep.
with me, so I won't repeat myself and steal his thunder, I guess. But that's the way things stand. We haven't received the money, we're not in compliance. The ask they're making, if they were to get the money, would technically have to be some sort of general funds.
Yep.
It'd have to be absent of this. We still need to get the $500,000. And to your point, the commission still has to ratify the acceptance of the $500,000 gift and the responsibilities that go along with it.
Okay. That was really it. And I've had several discussions with Mr. Long about it. I won't take us any longer here tonight. I know he'll go through his thoughts on it.
And we did discuss that in general office last week and went through the
Yeah.
TCA code on accepting it and figured out that we did not accept it. The county commission never did that either, so, Mr. Jones.
Is there any action for us to take tonight with regards to, like, what if we don't ratify that gift?
If we don't ratify the gift, we're in a whole nother, does that nullify the technology trust? I really don't have an answer for you, and there's so many moving parts to this.
Because we didn't ratify that one either, right?
Well, we've already taken item number 1 and not done what was asked of us in the will. So what does that do with number 2? And it becomes a whole reinterpretation of the will. What happens to they call it rest and residue?
Well, the
in the
reason I'm
will.
asking is because several citizens expressed that they would sue the county on behalf of things not being done right. And does that give them grounds that we've done things improperly to follow through with that?
I would not entertain those questions for the mere fact that I don't want to give anybody else ideas, and I've got a duty to protect the commission, so.
Well, the reason why I ask is because I want to protect us too.
I
We
understand,
need
unless you
we
want to
need
go to executive session tonight.
No. Just that I just want to see how important it was that we do ratify that.
It's a requirement.
For protection.
It's a requirement.
Yeah.
So whether we like it or not, it's a requirement.
Any further
So
discussion on this?
okay. I don't know if I can even make this motion. I would like to make a motion to ratify the acceptance of this gift contingent upon the outcome of our budget. I don't know if I can do this because it would contingent on the outcome of the next budget meeting and some changes that we need to make to the MOU.
Can
No, I would
I
draw my
make a
motion.
comment
I-
real
I'm
quick
just
before
gonna-
you do that?
I want
Is-
to, go ahead.
This, I believe the commission meeting only sent this to budget. Is that correct? Does that
So
sound
then
right?
that's fine.
Everybody else
Sounds
could have.
correct.
So everybody else that's picked it up, really, it's gotta go through budget before it gets back to commission in October. So I think that's, everything else you can try to move through, but that's who's gotta kick it up, and they're required to do it by October.
Chairman
I was just gonna make one comment, and that is that I would be very cautious about any kind of resolution that we want to present or make, because we may end up obligating ourselves when we're not obligated at all now, because I would contend, or I'd like to hope that our attorneys could contend in a court of law that the Board of Education holds their property, no matter what anyone else has said in a will or whatever. They own their property. It is deeded to them. Only they can sell it.
It's deeded to both. I just wanna be clear on
The
that.
deed
Yeah.
is in the name of both.
Yes, it's not just to the schools, it's both of us. We're joint owners for everything.
Have we seen the deed?
Yes,
Do we
it's
know
been in
that?
all the packets.
Well, we're in a hole there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, this is in
Back to
gen ops, this is in budget. I mean, Commissioner Jones.
foreseeing a little preview of what may be coming in budget, would ratifying that gift totally void the MOU? I mean, the MOU, in my opinion, is already void.
But we don't have an MOU, it's not.
Right, there is no MOU, but Commissioner Schoaf was talking about modifying an MOU.
Well, and that, I misspoke,
there
just to
is-
be clear. We are not putting any previous MOU in any packet in budget. We don't,
Okay, I didn't see an MOU in the budget agenda for tonight, so is that?
that's exactly right.
Okay, I just wasn't sure.
Okay.
I mean, that was the first I heard of it, so I didn't.
Yeah, so
I don't know what you guys.
we're not,
I just was trying to maybe hit something off at the pass, but there is no MOU,
Well,
so.
without objection, I would suggest just keeping this in the old business for next month, so just get a report.
Just a
Yeah.
quick question. There is an MOU document that exists, but are we suggesting that it never got formally approved, so there's no MOU?
correct.
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, item D is gonna be, I guess, the sheriff's bond. Have a motion? Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Hyde, second by Commissioner Miller. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I guess the full commission. Other items of zoning, A, B, C, and D are all, A, B, and C are second readings, so those will move to the full commission. And item D is a first reading. It will stay in legislative for October. Anything, we don't have to vote on that, so that's for docketing. And there is,
Stat question, could you
Yep.
quickly catch me up on what D is? You said you already had one reading. When was that?
This was in August of legislative was the first reading. No, this is the first reading of this.
Yes.
This
Of
month.
D?
Items
Of
A,
D.
B, and C have gone through first reading last
Yeah,
month.
I
So-
caught all that part. I'm trying to catch up.
You are in the
My night,
first.
so
You're in the
D.
first reading right now. You're in it.
So how do y'all typically do this?
We
Just
don't.
read it on
It's,
your
it's for
own?
docketing purposes only, and we do it the next month. It's just to give citizens time to come and talk about it. It's in our rules. It's outlined this way. You get through 2 months to slow down that development process.
So me
Like what
seeing it for
previous
the first time
commissioners-
is not a big deal. I've got time to read it now through this month. It's
Correct.
typically how we do
This-
it. We
this-
see it for the first time tonight.
Yeah, this would not be, this would come to October and then go to the full commission in October as well.
Gotcha.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?